Crafters. In tonight's video, I'm going to show you how to make a Trusty Tools tool bench, and we're going to use the Sidestep Fun Fold pattern. I use the Trusty Toolbox Designer Series paper for this card, and I use the Trusty Tools Photopolymer stamp set and dies, and then Sentimental part Photopolymer stamp set. Hi, I'm Joan Heberlein. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I created this video for Joan Simple Papercrafts, found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping by, and if you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video, which is typically once a week. Now give me a few seconds to turn the camera down and we'll get started. And this is a card we're going to make tonight using the Trusty Tools dies, and we're going to use this one and this one. All the other ones I've already cut out just to speed up the process, but I want to show you how to use these dies right here. Then we're also going to use the Trusty Tools stamp set, this thank you sentiment, and then from the Sentimental Park, we'll use for all the wonderful things you do. So we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, I want to show you this glue gun that I'm going to be using today. It's from My Sweet Petunia, and it really works great, and I'll show you in just a second. This is the cap for it, so when you're storing it for quite a few days, you'll want to use this cap. Otherwise, you can use this here. I don't know if you can see that down there. That has a little rubber thing there, and that closes that off. We'll get started now. First of all, we're going to use our paper. And we have a sheet of Real Red cardstock cut at 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And that's going to be 14 centimeters by 21.6 centimeters. Now, normally I'd cut this score line in the center, but I'm not going to do that yet because we want to do some other prep work on here first. So we're going to take this and we're going to line it up in our trimmer. And we're going to have the 5.5 inch side, or the 14 centimeters up at the top. And we're going to slide it over to 2 3/4 inches, or that's going to be 7 centimeters. And we're going to do some cutting here. I'm going to move my score blade out of the way. So here's our trimming blade. And from here, I'm going to stand up because I want to line it up perfectly. And there's ruler on this edge of the trimmer, which is very nice. And I want to make sure I got that lined up correctly. I'm standing up. We need it at 1 1/4 inches, or that'd be 3.2 centimeters. And then we're going to just slice down to 6 1/8 inches, or 15.6 centimeters. And so it's going to be all the way down here. Then we take it and turn it 90 degrees. So now we have it at the long side at the top. And what we want to do is we want to score it at 1 1/4 inches. And I'm going to flip this over for the scoring. So that's going to be 1 1/4 inches, or 3.2 centimeters. And we're going to score from this side. And let me get that trimmer blade out of there so that I don't trim it up instead of scoring it. Let me get this lined up again. I knocked it out when I moved that trimming blade. This is 1 1/4 inches, or 3.2 centimeters. Let's do it from the cutting line at the halfway point down to the edge of the card. Okay, then the next one's going to be 2 inches, or 5.1 centimeters. And again, we're going to line it up here. Add that line there, and we'll go down to the edge of the card. And then our next one is 3 1/8 inches, or 7.9 centimeters. And then the next one is 6 1/8 inches, or, let me get that up here. And I'm going to extend my arm here. That'll lay flat that way. So we want it 6 1/8 inches. And that would be 15.6 centimeters. Okay, and then we have one more that we need to do. we want to score it at 4 1/4 inches. So I'm going to back this off. I'm going to close this up again. And we're going to go back to 4 1/4 inches, and then we can go all the way across the cardstock. So that's going to be the middle of our card. And 4 1/4 inches would be 10.8 centimeters. Then we want to fold and burnish this. We'll need that trimmer a little later, but for now we're good with it. So let's fold and burnish this. Fold this here, and then the next one is going to be, that's a mountain, then we're doing a valley, then we'll do another mountain, and then a valley, and then another mountain. And then this will be folded there. And I'm just going to burnish it here. And I'm going to go on both sides because we want to make sure that we've got some tight folds here. I am going to take my little emery board because I have some fuzzies there and I just want to knock them off. I should probably switch my blade. And I'm just going to fold that down because it was raised a little bit. And the next piece we want is this piece of red cardstock. We want to cut that to glue into here. This is unusual to be gluing that back in. You'll see in a minute why I want to do that. So we're going to trim this down to, let's see, 2 3/4. So this length is 2 3/4. So I want to just be shy of it because I don't want to bump into this. So I'm going to just go a little bit short of 2 3/4. So that's like 1/16 of an inch shorter than that. And first of all, I want to see where my cutting lines are on here. Okay, let's go this way. 2 3/4 and a little hair shorter. And we're just going to knock that off. And then the next one is the 3 1/2 inches. And what we want to do here is now we want to glue that inside of this piece here. And we want to glue it all the way down there. And then we'll trim it so it matches up here. So let's see, since it's short, I can just put it out like that. All right, let me get some glue on there. And we only want to glue it up to here. Let me get my pencil to mark that spot. So we don't want to go past this spot here. See how well this works? I use a lot less glue now. And I can squeeze it a lot easier than I could before. This is what we normally use, and this is what I'm using in here. I've loaded this inside this bottle here. But then I had transferred it to this bottle and my hand still couldn't handle it. And so now I've got this glue gun and it works fantastic. And by the way, if anybody knows where this foot pad goes, let me know because it fell off of one of my pieces here and I do not know where it belongs. So let's get this glued down before it dries up on me. So we want to make sure that it's flush on the outside edge here. And we want to make sure that's flush there. And I'm just going to pull this off from here for right now because we've got those markers there that will allow me to get it flush. And we want it flush on this edge down here as well. And then let's get it up here. That looks about right. Okay, I am going to use my bone folder to just make sure we got all the glue bubbles out and then making sure we got paper contacting paper. And you see that I have some glue here, and I'm just going to wipe that off. Let me use my adhesive eraser. Otherwise, that's going to cause some problems a little bit later on. I guess I didn't have it lined up right. I didn't want to glue past that spot, because here's my pencil mark. Let me erase those. I don't need those anymore. So it's on the back. Nobody would see it. And let's see. A little bit of glue there yet. We'll set this aside and let that glue dry. Next, we want to cut a piece of Trusty Tool Designer Series paper. That's this paper here. And we want this side to be used. And we want to cut this at 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches or 10.2 centimeters by 13.3 centimeters, which I've already done, as you can probably tell. But what I need to do next is I want to cut this edge off right up here, because then it can go inside here without being bogged down by this paper. That is a 1 7/8 mark right there. I had marked it with my pencil. And then we've got a 2 3/4 down here. So the 1 7/8, we're going to line it up there. And that would be 4.8 centimeters. And I'm going to stand again for this one. And we're going to go down as far as the, what was it, 2 3/4 inches. And I'm actually going to go up because I already got it at 2 3/4. Then we're going to come here and we're going to take it at 2 3/4, which I've got lined up right here. And then we will line it up here again and go down. I'm just going to bring it back up and then just tug on this because I don't think I quite made it right there. And we can just put this away for maybe another project. And I'm going to just simply erase these lines here. You probably couldn't see them, but I can see them. Then we can adhere this to the inside of our card. And I am just going to take my snips and kind of trim out that corner because I didn't quite get it right. I take my glasses off for that. There, it was just a little fuzzy there that was bothering me. Okay, let's get our glue on here. So now I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch for a border all the way around, and that's going to be 0.3 centimeters. So I want the 1/8 of an inch here, 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 and here. And that's pretty close. And I'm just going to get my bone folder again. Now, I don't know if you noticed how I had to open it all the way up, because to open it just so far, this panel is going to be in the way. So you have to open the card all the way up if you want to get truly inside this card here. And what we should have done is we should have stamped this, but I forgot. So let's go ahead and stamp it now, and hopefully we won't have any problems stamping it. So let me get my Real Red. And I have the 4 right here. And I'm going to put it right about here. So I'm leaving like 4 squares on this side, 4 squares on that side, and then just picking a center line to go down on. That looks okay. And I'm just going to stamp off. But I do want to spray Stampin' Mist on my Stampin' Scrub because I don't have any on there. And that'll clean this up a lot easier. I could have used that rag that came with this glass mat. Let me get it for you right here. This would work really well to clean up these stamps. Then the next I want for the wonderful things that you do. And let's see if I can't get ink on there. Not on my fingers this time. And then I'm going to do the same thing, center it underneath this 4. Sorry about my head getting in the way. So I'm leaving like 2 squares on either side, and I'm just going to stamp down right below the 4. That looks okay. 4 is just a little wobbly, but I think it's okay. And let me stamp this off and do the scrubber on it. Next, we have our 5 pieces of cardstock that we had cut already. I went and cut it ahead of time. And we're going to make our drawers that go on here. So the drawers have a handle on here. It looks like silver. So I have this gray paper called Smoky Slate Cardstock. And we're going to make 1/8 of an inch right along here for our handle there. Let me set that aside. So I'm going to get it over here and lining it up here at the 1/8 of an inch and down here at the 1/8 of an inch to keep it square. There we go. Then we want to cut off 2.5 inches, and we need 5 of those at 2.5 inches. So let me get that up there, and it's almost easier probably to use my scissors, but I want the end to be square as well. And sometimes I go kitty wumpus with the scissors. So we got one cut. Two. Oh. That's three, so we're going to have to cut another strip here. I think I had one over here. And that's going to be four. And we're still shy one, so let me go ahead and cut another piece here. 1/8 of an inch, both places. And then 2.5. Those all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure these are all clean, because some of them have little fuzzies on them. So we'll use that emery board again and just kind of knock it off. Some of them, the fuzzies aren't even attached anymore, but okay, I've got these all lined up and kind of cleaned up here and here. So I did have to trim a little bit of fuzzies off of these using my emery board. And then I did snip the ends to make sure that they were square. Some of them didn't square up. They should be 1/8 of an inch by 2.5 inches long. And that'd be 2.2 centimeters by 6.4 centimeters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them onto these rectangles here. And those are cut at 7/8 of an inch by 2.5 inches, or 2.2 centimeters by 6.4 centimeters. And I'm going to speed this up because you don't need to watch me glue, but I am going to glue them onto here, and they will be at 1/16 of an inch from the border. And then on the right and left, it'll be 1/8 of an inch from the border, and then whatever it is from the bottom. So as long as you have it as 1/16 of an inch from the top, that should be fine. So let me go start gluing these, and I can do little glue dots now. Now that we have those drawers done, let's bring in our card base again. So we're going to glue these on here. We're going to put 4 on this left panel here. And the drawer size, I don't know if I told you that. I want to make a correction here. The handle size was 1/8 of an inch by 2.25 inches. And I think I told you it was 2.5 inches. So it's 1/8 of an inch this way by 2.5 inches. I did it again, 2.25 inches this way, and that would be 2.2 centimeters by 5.7 centimeters. Then we're going to put 4 of these on here, and we're going to separate them by approximately 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to put the top one and the bottom one on, and then we'll just make sure we've got these going about 1/8 of an inch between them. Giving it 1/8 of an inch for the border on the left and the right side. And you know what? I remember that I did the one right after another. I didn't go from the top to the bottom because I could line them up one right after the other. And I am going to wipe this glue off here because we want to leave, let me see, which one was that? Was that the right? Yeah. We don't want to have glue on the top so that we can tuck things in there. This one was okay to glue all the way around, but this one I do not want to have glue there, otherwise I won't get my other elements stuck in there. So I'm making sure that they're lining up here, here, and here, and then I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch between these two here. So this is the top, so we're just going to go around the edges here. I must have not had the top one lined up properly, because once I shifted that a little bit more, the rest worked out good. See, I think this is a little bit too tall up there. That looks good. These are all lined up there. They're all lined up on this side. Then we're going to do this one, and we'll line this up right here to here. I line these up, this here and here. And then I have 1/8 of an inch here and about almost 1/4 of an inch through here. Not quite. Then we're going to start putting things inside these drawers. So we would like to have some scissors. The screwdriver we're going to put on the board in the back. There's my drill. Okay. We're going to put this one right up here. And you see it's longer than what it needs to be. And so I'm going to cut it off right about here. So then I have enough still to glue it inside. And I'm not gluing them all the way down. As you can see, I've got those loose there. And then this one will glue in here, this way. There, that is done. Then we'll do this one next, this one here. And I need to do the tape measure, which I'm going to have to die cut. And then the pencil. And that one's already been chopped, shortened a little bit, because this was butted up to the edge of the page, so that worked there. Let me bring in my cut and emboss machine, and let me get this out of the way, because I don't want to mess up any of those. I've got 2 things I want to die cut. So first we're going to put down plate number 1. Then we're putting down plate number 2. This one is so loved, there's no numbers on there anymore. And there's plate number 2. Then we're putting our paper down, and then we're going to put the die on there. And I want to get this lined up perfect. Use my head, and I'm just going to put some tape here and some tape here. And that tape is from our Post-it label covering up tape, and it's sticky. It removes cleanly. It doesn't leave any residue. And then we're just going to pop that out. So that's that one. Then we're going to do our pegboard next. Again, number 1, number 2, our paper, and then the die. Now, this is going to punch that out, but it doesn't punch it to the right size. So I can trim that down to the right size. Let me just get this right here. And I'm going to punch out these little holes here. I could have just used my brush that comes with the Take Your Pick tool, or it's an add-on to the Take Your Pick tool. I only had a couple there, so that's all I did was just go ahead and do that. Let me get my trimmer up here, and we'll trim this down to the right size. So what I want to do is I'm going to trim it so that it's going to come very close to either side of the dots here. And I want to have them both the same. So I'll have this glued down, and I'll trim the top so that it comes close to where the dot, you can see most of it. So I'm going to go right through here. And I know I'm going crooked because that is not on there straight. So I'm going to try and straighten that out for us right now. I'm going over this line here on all of those the same. So that will give me a straight line. And then we can trim that down more later if we need to. Now I can go this way. And I can bring it up here. And if I go to 1/8, it's going to be too much. So I'm going to go 1/16. Then I know we need to have 1/16 from the edge. And I'm going to go from this direction because this is our straight edge here. I need to see how far it was from here. I'm looking where this is here. I'm going to make sure it does that on this side. There. I should have probably put that in straight so it wouldn't have been so crooked. I'd have made it easier to trim that off had they been straight. Now, I don't know if I need to trim anything else off, and I think we do. So you see I've got it all the way to the bottom, and I have this excess here. I can't have that. That's going to be too much. So we're going to just trim off right between these two here. Now let's see how it looks. That looks a lot better. I think I'm going to trim a little bit off the bottom because I would kind of like to have the same amount of spacing. I'm actually going to trim them quite a bit because I don't care what it looks like on the bottom piece. Yeah, that's going to work now. I think we're done with our trimmer. I don't think we're going to need that. So let me put that away. And the last piece we needed was our sentiment. And let me get this out of the way. That is all those dots from the pegboard. So this is our sentiment piece, and this is what we want it to look like. So I think I want to have the thank you end more closer to this edge right here. Then we can have that down in here a lot better. Let me get our stamp and our ink. So I'm going to shorten it a little bit on this side. And just making sure we've got it in there far enough. There, and I'm just going to stamp off. Then we're going to need our banner's pick-up punch, and we're going to put it in here. We want it to be the end of the arrow this way. And that was 3/4 of an inch this way and 2 3/4 of an inch this way. And I'm just going to put this end in to the punch face down so that I can see it from the other side. When you turn it over, you can see that I don't see the words, and then I'm going to punch it. And right now I've got it halfway down, so it's got it locked, and that's how I want to punch it. And I'm going to commit. There we go. That looks good. So now we can get this put inside of our next shelf over here, or next drawer. So we're going to do this first. Let me get my mat back over here. And I'm just going to lift that again. You know what I did? I covered all that up, didn't I, again? I keep forgetting about not wanting it to glue itself shut. But then we're going to glue this down. And we'll just do the bottom half of this pencil rather than gluing all of it. And we've got to hurry because I don't want the glue to stick because we want this to go in there yet. Then I'm looking to see how much we can do. You don't really see it that way, so let's go up here. I am going to trim this. There. Now we can glue that together. And the next thing, let's get this glued down. And I'm just going to go down every one of these stripes here. And we will line it up here. So I want to make sure the right and left edges have like 1/8 of an inch, and then the top has 1/8 of an inch, and it still fits to the bottom, so that's good. And I'm just going to press that down. And the next piece we want, let's do our fussy cutting. So I wanted to show you how to fussy cut. There wasn't a die for the thin brush, so I'm going to fussy cut this out, and I want to cut it right up to the dark line. Normally I leave like a 1/16 of an inch so you see the white trim around there, but I don't want that this time. I'm going to cut it right up to the dark line there, and we'll speed this up. I'm going to turn the paper and not the scissors. So we're going to glue the screwdriver over here with the hammer right next to it, and then the paintbrush right there. So let me get the screwdriver going. I wanted to poke through this here before I did that. I'm just going to use this paper pumpkin box, and I'm just going to punch through that with our take your pick tool. There. I'm going to put glue back on here. I want to put it on a hole that's on here, on the card base. So right there. And I'm just going to kind of tuck that over a little bit. Clean up the hole. I don't know how much that's glue and how much of it's paper. I'm trying to just get the paper pushed over. There, that looks better. we still need to do our drill. I think that's all we have left. I'm going to glue them here. We don't need the glue on the top part again. We just need it on this base down here. You'd think I'd learn by now. I think I need to have it tipped a little bit more because we want to do the drill bit yet on there. And I need to have card to glue with that too. And the way I had it going, the drill bit was not going to be on the card. Now I'm just trying to line it up. Seems like I got this lined up a lot easier the last time. And I'm going to glue down this a little bit right about here. There. I think we're done now. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this project as much as I did creating this project. Why don't you give it a try? Now, if you enjoyed today's video, would you do me 2 favors? Click the thumbs up emoji, which means you like it, and would you share it on social media with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help me to keep sharing my ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me. If you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or would like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you'll need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. Mark your calendars. I'll be back Sunday, February 25th at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we'll be doing another project from the new mini catalog, and I hope you'll be here to join me. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight, and I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.